Okay, has anyone ever applied for a job? How many of you have applied for a job before? Okay, what's the reason you applied for a job? To give the documentation to the employer that is necessary to assess your background to see if you're qualified for the job, right? What sort of information do you put on a job application? Excuse me. Put that away. What was that?
Your address, your social security number, your name.
Yes, that kind of information, your name, address, contact information. What else? Your background, right? What sort of background information?
Like you've been in jail at night, committed a felony.
Yes, that's on the application.
So how many jobs have you been in, your reference?
Mm-hmm. That's correct. Okay, so okay, so this PowerPoint is about the sort of criteria that you need to think about when applying for a job. Okay, what are the numerous ways that you can apply for a job? You can use
online, your cell phone, paper.
right. You can use a paper application. You can go online. Like you said, you can use your cell phone, or you can use a laptop, you can use a tablet, an employment office. What else? What are the other ways you can apply for a job? By talking to them?
You recommend, put a word out like
Right. You should always, if you're interested in a particular job, you can go on the employer's website, or you can talk directly to the employer to ask them, how do you need to apply for the job? Now, we talked about what kind of information is on a job application. What sorts of information can an employer not ask you for?
sex life.
That was inappropriate.
It really was.
Your personal life. What sort of personal information can they not ask for?
So you're transition.
You were right.
I mean, it is great, but it's inappropriate. They can't ask you your age. What else? Your age.
Birthplace? Oh.
In some cases, they need that information, your birthplace. What else? Yes? Right. Like your favorite things, like information that has nothing to do with your background or your qualifications. Those are the sorts of things that an employer cannot ask for. Okay, so before you start a job application, there are some do's and don'ts. You should research the company, the career area, and the actual job for which you are applying. Why should you do that?
So you can know something.
Why should you research the company?
To learn more about it and the responsibilities.
Right. You research the company and the career area and the actual job, so you make sure when you answer the questions on the resume that you give the appropriate information that tells them why you are qualified for that job. You should also make sure you are using the right form. Just like I just said, when you speak to a company or communicate with a company, make sure that you know exactly which form they want you to use to apply for the job. Okay, also when applying for a job, do not start on the form or write on the form before you thought out what you want to say. You can print copies of a job application if you need to, so you can write drafts of what you want to write, so you can make the corrections and then put those corrections on the final copy, right? Because remember, how many errors can be on a resume or even an application?
0.
0. So you have to make sure that you complete a draft before you do a final document to submit. Do read through and follow all the instructions, and do use black ink. Why is it important to read through the form to follow instructions?
Because it's going back.
Right, if you don't read the instructions, then you can do the wrong thing, and you can be what?
That's what.
You can mess up and be disqualified for consideration for employment, right? Okay, the presentation of your resume. It should be neat and tidy, with no crossings out, and no splashes of corrective fluid. Why? In order to make the resume easy for the employer to read, right? In order for it to look what? Decent and professional, correct. A handwritten application form gives a good impression. However, if your handwriting is not good, then what should you do? Right. You can type, or just like PowerPoint says, you can complete the form in block capitals. Try to fill in all the space provided for your answers. Too much blatant space makes an application look what? Half-hearted or half-done. It makes it look like you haven't put much effort into it, correct? And the employers put the space there so you can provide as much information as possible, or they can receive as much information as possible about you. Sometimes you should include a cover letter with your form. It can highlight more things, more of your skills and selling points. Sometimes a cover letter can provide different types of information that you would not have on an application, because applications are standard forms where the employers ask for specific information. You can add a cover letter that gives them more information about you to make you stand out. Okay, to answer the questions of a resume, some points are, first thing, to be informative, detailed, but concise in your answers. Give the employer the essential detail, but leave them wanting to meet you out to learn more. To meet you to learn more. In an application, when you fill out applications or resumes, you're really selling yourself to an employer. So you should write information about yourself in a way that makes them want to find out more about you, right? Yes. Yes? Keep in mind, make sure that when you write your resume that you keep in mind what kind of qualities the employer is looking for. Always remember to have that in mind. to look at the job description. It may be a job description on the website, or if you don't see a job description on the website, you can look for a general idea of what the job is somewhere online. And make sure that you keep those in mind when filling out the various fields of your application. Also, it's very important not to dismiss anything as irrelevant without careful thought. Students often assume that their part-time work as a waiter, shop assistant, or fruit picker can be of no possible interest to an employer. And this is not so. Employers can learn a great deal about your motivation and skills from jobs such as these. So do include them. What sorts of jobs are we talking about? And what sort of things have you done in the past to show an employer what your work ethic is like, or what kind of motivation you have, or what sort of character you have? Be on time. What sorts of things have you done to make money? How many people have been babysitters? How many people have cut grass?
I have.
Because you're so young, you may not have a lot to put on a resume, but put those sorts of things on a resume. If you do things, what kind of activities that you do outside of school? Volunteer work, you may do things like what?
Work at a job.
I sell the garage.
Like, do you attend church? Do you have activities that you do? Community activities, correct. Any sort of activity that you participate in, like community activities, that enhances the community, or that can enhance your application, you put in those applications. Also, these sorts of things can make you more distinctive in the eyes of the employer, so make sure that you add anything that's relevant. Sell the skills that you gain from casual jobs. Many students feel that their casual shop or restaurant job is of no interest to selectors. Explain the skills that you've gained from serving customers, working in a busy team. Here's an example. Of all my work experiences have involved working within a team. This involved planning, organization, coordination, and commitment. For example, in retail, this ensured daily sales targets were met, a fair distribution of tasks, and effective communication amongst all staff members. So let's think about some of those miscellaneous things that you've done, like babysitting and cutting grass and the community projects that you participated in. What sorts of skills have you picked up from doing those kinds of things? What was that? Responsibility. You're responsible when you're babysitting. You're responsible when you're cutting grass. You're responsible when you're doing community activities that enhance the community and that enhance people's lives. What else? Organizational skills, time management skills. If you have to cut someone's grass in, let's say, 10 or 15 minutes, then that shows that you find a method that you can use to go over the entire yard in 15 minutes, then you're utilizing time management skills. Okay, so make sure that you think about those various types of skills that you utilize with those sorts of jobs. Again, the kind of skills that you have gained from work experience, sports teams, volunteering, hobbies, and summer work. Like, think about some of the things you've done over the summer. You can add those to a resume. References. These are not always very important to an application, but some employers do not even take them up until after the final interview. Generally, employers expect one academic and one personal reference. Academic does not have to be your tutor. It can be another member of the staff who knows you well enough, a personal reference, maybe a previous employer, and it can be a family friend or a school teacher. And make sure that you always ask your references permission to provide their information to an employer before you write them down on an application. So they won't be surprised when someone calls and asks about you. Okay, any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I need you to go into Edmodo. There is an application in Edmodo. Download the application.
This one right here?
The application is on the smartboard. Edmodo, please.
We got download it. I got it.
Go to Edmodo and upload the job application. You're gonna fill out a sample application. I took up the resumes, I need to pass them back out. But you're gonna transfer the information from your resume to the application. There's gonna be some additional information on this application that you won't have on your resume. And we're gonna go over these parts. So you need to pay attention. Okay, this application is 4 pages. It says complete pages 1 through 4. So you make sure that you fill out all 4 pages. What date would go on the date blank? Today's date. The date that you fill out the job application, that's what you put in the blank. And just like we discussed, all of this general information goes into the application: name, address, how long you've been there, social security number. Don't put that in today. Your telephone number. Make sure that you capitalize your name and your address when you complete this application. Answer all of these questions. On the application, it says how many days of the week are you available to work. So what sort of shifts are available? People work part-time, they work full-time, and as a student, what will you be able to do? Part-time. And then your days of the week, and it asks how many hours can you work each week as a student. How many hours can you work?
Not really. I say about 3, so let's you might have like schoolwork.
Now, yeah, schoolwork and homework and all kinds of things, but generally employers want people to work a little bit more than 3 hours or 5 hours a week. So you may want to put the minimum, I think the minimum may be 12 hours, I'm not sure. But you can do your research to figure out what are the minimum number of hours that you can work per week. Next, there's the schooling section. You put your high school right there, and then it asks that, put the name of the school right here. You have your mailing address, number of years completed, you have a diploma. Same thing with college. You haven't been to college yet, or trade school or professional school, so you leave those blank, okay? We spoke about this earlier. Have you ever been convicted of a crime? No.
Yeah.
Now, if you have to be honest and select yes, and then write in the reason why. And the reason why is what?
Only one time.
Why do you have to put that in?
So they know how bad it was.
Well, make sure that you're honest about it,
They can
because
do a background
companies
check.
do background checks, correct.
You get fired for lying.
So, exactly, and you won't even be considered for employment if they find out that you're lying. So make sure that you always fill in that sort of stuff correctly and honestly. All right, let's look at page 2. We're just going over this right now. We're going to start filling in later. Do you have a driver's license?
Yes.
Not yet. So which one do you select?
Yes.
No. What is your means of transportation to work?
My car,
What they
my
mean?
mother.
Who, like you said, bus, if you go bus, say you're being transported by your parents, mother, who brings you to work. What are they trying to figure out by asking you this question? Excuse me? Correct, that's very good. They're trying to figure out if you can make it to work. If they hire you, then you have to have a way to get to work, right? You don't need any of this information unless you don't have a driver's license. That's the driver's license number and all that stuff. When there's a field on an application that does not apply to you, what do you write?
Not available. N-A.
N/A. N/A, that means what?
Not available.
Not applicable. You never leave anything blank. Because you don't want the employer to think what?
You skipped it.
That you skipped it or you just didn't fill it out. Correct. Same thing goes with the type of school area. You haven't been to college, so you put NA in that blank. Trade school, business or trade school, NA, professional school.
What about number of years to be mad?
Yes.
Like high school, I put in that too.
Yes. Like if you're in the 10th grade, you've been in high school 2 years, right? Or you can put this is your second year.
I ain't finished one year.
Well, then you can put that you're in the 9th grade. Okay, and then the next section. This says office use only. Make sure that you keep an eye out for any sections that say office use only. Make sure that you do not fill in those parts. When it says typing skills, personal skills, computer skills, I'm thinking that the employer will verify if you have those skills. They may give you a test to see if you have those skills. So make sure that you look out for that area that says office only. Okay, the next section it says, list 2 references other than relatives of previous employers. Now, in the PowerPoint, we did say that you can have 2 different types of references. What are those? An academic reference and
Boss.
Can I highlight the stuff, like the stuff that I can't check on?
what do you mean?
Like it say part-time stuff, we got to check with mine. I'm on the first one,
Okay, we're on the 3rd page right now, so let's all get on this page. Or is this the 2nd page? Second page. You can have an academic reference or a personal reference. An academic for you is more like a professional reference. That can be a teacher or someone that knows your work. That can be a previous employer, so that's correct. You put their name, position they hold, the company that they work for, and their address and phone number. Now you get the address and the phone number when you ask them if you can use them as a reference, correct? And you can also have one personal. Now some employers are okay with you using relatives, but not that many, but this one specifically asks that you not list a relative. So you can list other adults who know you, like church members or neighbors or those kinds of people that know you. That can explain to a character to an employee. Okay, now this section says an application form can sometimes make it difficult for an individual to adequately summarize their complete background. information necessary to describe your full qualifications for the specific position which you are applying. Now, this information is similar to the information that goes on what that we discussed earlier. A cover letter, correct? Remember we said that a cover letter can list additional information that is not asked for on an application, right? But if you see this specific application gives you the opportunity to explain other skills that you want to express to the employer that you have. And those are the things that make you unique from other candidates. So make sure that you put all the information down. Remember we said that a lot of students don't understand that a lot of different skills can be listed on applications. Any skill is relevant. You can put it on an application because you never know what an employer is looking for. Next page, page 3. The next section is military. You have to get to the military, so what did you put below answers? No. Correct. And what do you put in the blank that says specialty? NA, correct. Next section is the work experience section. It says, please list your work experience for the past 5 years, beginning with your most recent job held. If you are self-employed, give a firm name. And attach any additional sheets if necessary. So make sure that you list all your employers. The section asks for name of employer, address, city, state, zip code, and phone number. Make sure that you capitalize all this information, okay? Next, it asks for the name of your supervisor and your employment dates and your pay or salary. There's also a space to fill in for the reason for leaving. What sorts of reasons or things will you fill in if you left the job? Reason for leaving. Better paying job. What else? Or you can say instead of putting better paying job, because a lot of employers don't like when you talk about money, you can put opportunities for advancement. See opportunity for advancement. And then the next box is list jobs held, duties performed, skills used to learn, advancements or promotions you work while at this company. So that's very straightforward. You can give the description of what you've done, like in the section in the resume where you have the job descriptions. That information can go right in this box. Here's another space you can put for a second job. Okay, so for
You don't have to fill all those.
yes, it asks, the employer asks for all the jobs that you held within the past 5 years. So you have to put all those jobs down. And if you only have one job, then you only fill in one. But for the second space, if you haven't had a second job, then what can you write? Where it says name of the employer. N/A, correct. So they'll know that the application is complete if you leave it blank, and they'll wonder if you have any other jobs. Okay, page 4.
It's the same.
That's another space for job 3. Another space for job 4. And at the bottom, it has a question. Maybe contact your present employer. You can select yes or no. What do you think you should write in that space and why? What should you circle?
No.
Yes, now if you indicate, what kind of message does that send to this potential employer? Correct, that you may have something to hide. Now, so in most cases, it's ideal to put yes. Also, it says that you complete this application yourself, you can be honest. not who did, list the names. Make sure you capitalize their name, okay? You had